If you guys look above your heads, you'll see the animal spotting guide. That's going to help us identify some of the animals we might see out there today. We're most definitely not guaranteed to see all of them. They are wild animals, so they'll come and go as they please, but I'll try my very best to point them out for you. It looks like we're off to a pretty good start. If you look off to the right-hand side here, there's going to be a brown animal with some striped legs. That's an okapi. Now, the okapi may fool you with those legs, make you think that it's related to the zebra, but they are actually the only living relative of the giraffe. Now, we know that for a few different reasons. The first is they do have very similar skull structures. They also both have long prehensile tongues as well as ossicones, and ossicones are basically just skin-covered horns. Now, the okapi actually wasn't discovered by the Western world until about 1901. They definitely existed long before that. We just thought they were a myth. They sounded a little too weird to be true. It looks like there are some antelope coming up on this hill on the right-hand side. So there are going to be a few large light brown ones. These are greater kudu, second tallest antelopes on the reserve, and it looks like they are female because only the male greater kudu have horns. Pretty good look at them. Now this watering hole on our left is a pretty good place to find a whole bunch of different animals. So we'll see what's hanging out around here. It's a very important social gathering place. Looks like there is a black rhino to our left-hand side. Get a good look in just a second. That's going to be right on top of this hill. Let's see if we can get a good look. Yeah, there we go. Now, black rhinos can weigh up to 3,000 pounds, but don't let that size fool you. They can still run at speeds of about 35 miles per hour. Now, rhinos actually have no natural predators. Their biggest threat is from humans. They are heavily poached for those horns of theirs, but those horns are made of something called keratin, which is just like what makes up our hair and fingernails. So, unfortunately, they are poached for nothing, and there are less than 5,000 left in the wild today. Now, these orange antelope with white stripes to our left-hand side are bongo. Bongo are nicknamed the ghosts of the forest because they are super shy, so they're pretty rarely seen. I think we've just about spotted everything in the forest, so we're going to head up to the Safi River. The river is home to some of Africa's most dangerous animals, and it's usually a pretty good place to find some Nile hippopotamus. Now, hippopotamus does mean river horse, so definitely keep your eyes peeled on the water while we're moving through here. They'll stay submerged most of the day to protect themselves from overheating, so sometimes if you see bubbles coming up, it may mean that they're down there. It looks like there are a couple up ahead, though. Now, it can be pretty hard to see hippos when they're under the water because when they want to get from place to place, they'll actually sink all the way to the bottom and walk across it. They can swim, they just prefer to do that instead. It's a little bit easier for them, so oftentimes you just see them kind of gliding along the bottom. And there are a couple submerged on our right-hand side. If you don't get a good look, no worries. We usually find even more up ahead here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it looks like there is a bloat of hippos on our left-hand side. That's a group of hippos. Now, adult hippos can hold their breath under the water for up to 8 minutes at a time. And they also have the unique ability, stay seated, my friends, to hold their breath even when they're sleeping. So they'll come up for air every 8 minutes or so, and it's just something subconscious that they do. They'll still be asleep. Now there's also a pod of pink-backed pelicans on these islands. They get their name from the little patch of pink that their backs get right around mating season. Looks like there are a couple more hippos over here as well. Now, hippos are a favorite of many. People usually think they are pretty cute, but they are one of Africa's largest and most dangerous animals as well. They can weigh up to 5,500 pounds, and they're also very territorial. You do not want to mess with them. Now, speaking of dangerous animals, there are some Nile crocodile, and it looks like we are going to cross right over them. Nile crocodile are about as long as a giraffe is tall. So they're anywhere from 16 to 20 feet in length, and they can weigh up to 500 pounds. They have a pretty impressive bite strength of about 2,000 pounds per square inch, and they can even eat half of their body weight in one meal. A lot of the times you'll see them with their mouths propped wide open. They'll do that to release excess body heat. They're not just smiling at you. Looks like we're heading towards the savannah. A little bit of a different ecosystem. Now, speaking of different, we're going to talk about this weird looking tree on your right hand side here. This is a baobab tree. They're also known as the upside down tree because it kind of looks like its roots are all the way up on top there, just like they were planted upside down, but that is completely normal for them. They'll remain leafless 9 months out of the year to conserve water. They live to be about 2,000 years old, and the wider the trunk is, the older the tree. As we round this corner up here, we're going to get a pretty good look at the Serengeti grasslands. The savanna here stretches for hundreds of square miles across East Africa, and it's also home to millions of migrating animals, which includes a lot of our favorites like giraffes and elephants. So we'll see what else is out here. Now this is the wild Africa we're all trying so hard to protect.
They're over here.
There. There's a baby one. There's a baby one over there. We're going over there, don't worry. This smells really bad. I want to work here. There's a big giraffe up here. Look, there's one
Now, there are some African wild dogs to our left-hand side here. They're going to lay down all the way in the back. These are also known as painted dogs because of those markings on their fur. And those markings are actually as unique to them as their fingerprints are to us, so they use them to identify each other. Now, they may look kind of cute just like your other stuff, but you do not want to try petting them. They're one of Africa's most successful hunters. They will hunt in packs and then chase their prey until it drops from exhaustion. Now, those reddish-brown animals on the left-hand side are sable antelope, and there are some giraffes up here. A couple of them. Looks like there were quite a few more in the distance as well. A group of giraffes is called the tower. Pretty fitting. They are the tallest animals in the world. They're about 16 to 20 feet tall on average, and they actually stand 6 feet tall at birth. There's also some large red mounds here on either side. These are termite mounds. They're made of some pretty cool stuff like soil, saliva, and dung. And they'll make in the hot Africa sun become about as hard as concrete. Now as we pass by these giraffes, I want you to take a look at their heads. You'll see those two things sticking straight up out of their skulls. Those are ossicles. Those are one of the ways we know that they're related to the okapi. Another way was their prehensile tongues. Prehensile is just a fancy word that means they can grab onto things. So you'll see them try and wrap their tongue around a branch and try and yank the leaves off. Now they'll eat around 20 hours a day, which doesn't really leave time for much else, which is why they only sleep for a total of about 30 minutes, and they will not do it all at once. They do it for a couple minutes at a time, and they do sleep standing up as well.
really cool.
As we round this corner up ahead, there's going to be a bunch of gray animals grazing on this hill. These are white-bearded wildebeest. They're also known as gnu, spelled G and U, because of the low grunting noise that they make. Now, they'll migrate in numbers up to 1.5 million. It's pretty impressive. It's said that the dust they kick up when they're migrating can be seen from outer space. Also, another good look at this tower of giraffes. Now, they're famous for those long necks of theirs, but they actually have the same number of vertebrae or bones in their necks as we do in ours, which is 7.
I still haven't seen elephants.
I don't think there might be.
Now on the right hand side, if you guys look by this white-bearded wildebeest, there are going to be some super small tandem white antelope on that hill. Those are springbok. Springbok get their name for their ability to spring up into the air at about 6 feet, and they can actually leap 13 feet over a distance. So they will be able to leap right through this truck, right over our heads, and have no problems doing it. And that's called pronking. Because of that pronking, they are actually considered one of Africa's top 10 fastest animals. Now there are a bunch of knockdown trees around us, so that's a pretty good sign that we're heading into elephant country. Elephants are known as the bulldozers of Africa, and it looks like there is one straight ahead here, just beyond these bushes. Looks like we've got a pretty good view of him up ahead here. Now there's also some mandrills to our left-hand side, largest species of monkeys. Adult males usually weigh around 100 pounds. Now those colors on their noses, the bright blue and red, will actually get brighter the more excited the monkey is, as well as the more dominant the male. So beautiful view of this African elephant. Now it looks like this is a male because he's all by himself. When male elephants reach a certain age, they'll break off from the herd and become completely solitary, while females will stick with the herd throughout their lifetime. So when you do see a group of elephants, it's usually adult females as well as their young. Now based on his size, it also looks like this is a juvenile. He's pretty small, so he's probably somewhere in his teens. We're going to move up a little bit further into elephant country, and hopefully we'll be able to find the herd of my family. I know they're usually not too far away. Looks like they closed off the shortcut here, so we'll just have to keep going, take the long way, but I'm not really seeing anything else out here. Looks like we're passing through some red clay pits, and I know the herd loves to hang out by these, so hopefully we'll see them. Oh, they've most definitely passed through. You can see they've been marking their tusks on either side of the clay here. They'll do that to mark their territory, but they also love to eat that red clay to get important vitamins and minerals that isn't really found in their normal diets. Now they'll also fling that clay, dirt, mud, and sometimes hay onto their backs, and they basically use it as sunblock. They have sensitive skin just like we do, so if you ever notice that their backs look super dirty, or you see them using their trunks to just kind of fling dirt everywhere, that's why. They think it's a little bit too sunny outside. It looks like we're going to get a pretty good view of the head here. Now there is a baby elephant if you look between the legs of those adults there. Now elephants actually have a gestation period of 22 months, and after that 22 months they are the lucky winner of a 300-pound baby. Now we're also passing another one of these baobab trees on the right hand side, and if you take a look at the trunk you'll see that it has a bunch of holes in it. Baobab trees store all the water that they conserve right inside of that trunk. So elephants will actually use their ivory tusks to poke through it to get to the water stored inside. They'll kind of drink it out like it's a juice box. It's super useful in dry seasons, and other animals benefit from it too. Now you can see that elephant back there flapping its ears back and forth. They actually do that to cool themselves off. It'll create air currents right over the blood vessels behind their ears, and it can reduce their body temperatures up to 15 degrees. It's like their own personal fan attached right to their head there. Now, there is a flamboyance on our left hand side. That's what a group of flamingos is. Now it looks like these are greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are the largest as well as the lightest shade of pink of the flamingo species, but it actually takes about a year of them eating brine shrimp, which is packed with beta carotene, for them to turn this color. They're born more of a gray. Now there is a baby flamingo out here. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look all the way towards the edge, you can see a little gray ball. Look all the way towards the right. Standing under one. Yeah, there we go. If you're wondering what those smaller white birds are, those are not baby flamingos, those are freeloaders. Now it looks like there might be an animal on the road up ahead. The truck up ahead is stopped, so we'll see. It looks like they're moving though. And there are some rhinos up here.
In the road.
some animal in the road up ahead, way up there, because it looks like the truck's all the way up our step too. Now there are some rhinos up ahead here. This truck's blocking it a little bit, but we'll see it in a little bit. Now these are white rhino, but as you're going to see, white rhinos are not white at all. They get their name from the mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word white, which means wide, and it refers to the very broad square shape of their mouths. Now they are significantly larger than that black rhino we saw. If you remember, I said black rhinos can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. White rhinos can weigh up to about 5,000. But just like the black rhinos, they are very heavily poached for those horns of theirs.
Okay, there's oh my god.
There we go. Good view of these white rhinos if you guys haven't had one before. Now it looks like they've been rolling around in this mud in the middle here. They'll use that mud as sunblock, and they'll also help ward off many mud bugs. Sometimes you just see them laying down right in the middle of it to cool themselves off as well. Very good look at them. Now, a group of rhinos is called a crash. I like to say they're called that because they have terrible eyesight. They can see clearly about 1 foot in front of them. They do, however, have excellent hearing, so oftentimes you'll see the ears swiveling constantly back and forth. They're just listening super closely to us. Keep your eyes peeled on this hill. I know some cheetahs have been seen around here today, but they do blend in very well with their surroundings, so sometimes it's kind of hard to spot them. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world. They're adapted for high-speed chases, so they can run at speeds of about 60 miles an hour, and they can only maintain that speed, however, for a few hundred yards. Now, unlike most big cats, cheetahs are diurnal, and all that means is they're most active during the daytime. That's when they're going to do most of their hunting.
He's laying down. He's laying like flat down right here. He's under the tree over there. He's straight through the trees. You see it? It looks like a log It's laying down on the ground. It's kind of hard to see. You see it right through there?
It looks like a log.
Mm-hmm.
It's sleepy. It was sleeping. I want to see a snake. Is it a black?
rock formation straight ahead here is called a copy, and it's where the lions like to hang out. So hopefully we'll have some luck. Lions love to lay right on top of all of these rocks, kind of use it as a vantage point, keep an eye on their surroundings, see if any prey is in the area nearby. And they can leap around 20 feet, so it's actually super common to see them all the way up on top of even the tallest rock there. I'm not seeing any on this side. Let's see if we can find some on the other.
$11.55.
For what?
The Cali River Rapids.
Now, it looks like there is a lioness laying down in between these rocks if you just look over your left shoulder there. Yeah. Now, they are nocturnal animals. They're inactive 16 to 20 hours a day, so it's no surprise that she is resting right now. Looks like the male is sleeping up here as well.
Mm-hmm. She said the male is over here.
Yeah, right there. It's laying on that rock. Oh, it's too bad.
Here we go. Beautiful look at this male lion right on the edge up here. Now, it's actually the lioness that do most of the hunting and pride. The male will kind of hang back and protect the territory as well as all of their cubs. Looks like there are some zebra coming up on the right hand side here as well as another white rhino.
There's another one up there right above Embry.
Huh? Oh yeah, there's one right above him.
Oh yeah.
Now, no two zebra stripes are alike, and they'll also use those stripes as a type of camouflage. So when they're all together in a group, it's kind of hard for predators to know one apart from the other. They all just blur together. And for the most part, zebras are very docile animals, but the kick from their hind legs can actually break the jaw of an attacking lion. They are pretty strong when they need to be. There's also a beautiful view at this male as well as another lioness there. And if we were lucky enough to hear them roar, we would be able to hear them up to 6 miles away. It's pretty powerful. If we were anywhere on their reserve, we would most definitely hear it. Now there is a warthog to our left hand side, so as we were on the corner, if you look to the left of that big tree there, it's laying down. It kind of looks like a fuzzy rock. Now warthog are burrowing animals. You can see a bunch of their burrows down below here. They'll use their feet, snouts, and tusks to dig those into the ground. At night they'll actually back all the way into them with those razor sharp tusks exposed, and it kind of acts as a warning to other animals not to mess with them or their homes. A beautiful look at this white rhino as well as the zebra here.
Wow.
Pretty good look visit them. Now there are some eggs under this tree on the right hand side as well. Those are ostrich eggs. Ostrich eggs weigh about 3 pounds each. It's no surprise that such big eggs come from the largest species of birds. Now an adult human can actually stand on one of those and they will not even break. They have extremely thick shells. They have to be able to stand the body weight of their parents. Now, even though ostriches have those big wings of theirs, they are flightless birds. They'll actually use them to propel them in the right direction when they're running because they are pretty fast. They can run at speeds of about 40 miles an hour. Heading into Magadi Glen, the newest part of the reserve here. Let's see what we can find. Now there are going to be 2 large white birds on our right hand side here as we round this corner. These are yellow-billed stork. Yellow-billed stork are carnivorous birds, and they're also what we call opportunistic feeders. They will pretty much eat anything that they can fit into those mouths of theirs, whether that be fish, frogs, snakes, or even smaller birds. They are not picky whatsoever. Now also, if you guys look off on the right hand side, all the way in the back there between the trees, there is an antelope back there. You can kind of see it squishing its tail. That's a scimitar horned oryx. They get their name from the shape of those long curved horns that they have, which closely resemble a scimitar sword. Now they're desert antelopes, so they can go up to 9 months without even a single drop of water. They'll conserve water by not breaking a sweat until their bodies reach about 115 degrees. It is super impressive. These animals just have all kinds of ways of protecting themselves from the African heat. Now, unfortunately, the oryx are completely extinct in the wilds. They're only found on protected reserves, just like this one. We have reached the end of the reserve, but if you guys want to see more animals that we might not have gotten the chance to see today,